Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We have something unusual to discuss. Part of the unusual behavior of Comey, Strzok, McCabe, and others. And this is so bizarre and unusual. To my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. So unusual and bizarre. That's how they phrase everything. Gosh, it's just so unusual. They didn't usually it's just not the protocol that usually takes place. They never say they set up Trump. They never say they went after Trump. They never say they framed everyone around him, including Trump. They never say it. Do you understand? They never say it. It's all unusual. God, that's bizarre. You mean that they used opposition research to start everything? That's bizarre. You mean they didn't even read the applications, or they didn't verify? That's interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you, Hidden for Time. Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you. That's interesting. Well, let's talk about some really bizarre things. So, ex-FBI lawyer Carter Page application approved in unusual way by McCabe, Yates, and Baker. Unusual. It was an unusual FISA application. A former top lawyer for the FBI described lawmakers the unusual way the surveillance request targeting former Trump campaign associate Carter Page was handled by top leadership. It was unusual, don't you know? It wasn't an example of a fabricated attempt at removing a duly elected president or sowing the seeds or laying the groundwork for an insurance policy in case Madam Cyberhack lost the Golden Moo. In front of a joint session of the House Judiciary and Oversight Committee on August 31st, 2018, former FBI Deputy Director Tricia Anderson said she was normally responsible for signing off on Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act applications before they reached the desks of her superiors for approval. Well, then why didn't she? Before they reached the desks of her superiors, Anderson said the linear path those applications typically take was upended. What? That's unusual. That's so unusual. That's so bizarre and unusual. Why would that happen? Why would the normal procedure? Gosh, I mean, Comey, Strzok, and McCabe, and Clapper and Brennan are so above board, and there's just always worried about the United States of America and our safety. Why would this happen? Let's find out. I'm sure there's nothing to it. I'm sure that they were just worried about protecting President Trump's privacy. Anderson said the linear path those applications typically take was upended in October 2016 with FBI Director Andrew McCabe and Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates signing off on the application before she did. What? Why would Sally Yates? I think that President Trump is a really mean person. Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates signing off on the application before she did. Why would McCabe and Yates sign off on the application before Tricia Anderson? Why would, and this is a Washington Examiner article, why would McCabe and Yates sign off on a FISA application before Tricia Anderson? That's bizarre. That's very bizarre. That's weird. That's surprising. And it's unfortunate for everyone who's going to get indicted, because they will get indicted. They committed crimes. Anderson said the linear path those applications typically take was upended in October 2016 with FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe and Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates signing off on the application before she did because of that unusual high-level involvement. She didn't see the need to second-guess the FISA application. Yeah. Yes. Salome, hello. Madam Cyberhack and the Firefly stance. Enjoy. Have fun sleeping tonight, everyone. Enjoy. So Trisha Anderson was part of the FBI's National Security Law Branch. The National Security Law Branch needs to sign off and verify anything that these FISA judges are given before buffoons and imbeciles at the top, namely Strzok and McCabe and Comey and Sally Yates, who, why would the Justice Department become part of this also? That's hilarious too. You've just implicated the entire President Obama's entire Justice Department. Thanks, Sally Yates. You're fantastic. Anderson said the linear path those applications typically take was upended in October 2016 with FBI Director Andrew McCabe and Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates signing off on the application before she did. Because of that unusual high-level involvement, she didn't see the need to second-guess the FISA application. Really? Really? You didn't see the need to second-guess because, McCabe and Sally Yates? That's interesting. That's bizarre and interesting. Wow. I'm sure that there was no criminal behavior from McCabe, who's under criminal investigation, and Sally Yates, who's in on all of this and implicated the Justice Department. The Page FISA application was filed by the Justice Department and FBI with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court in October 2016. Wow, right before Election Day. They got that insurance policy going, right before election. A surveillance warrant was granted and 3 renewals were subsequently approved. The FISA application relied heavily on unverified research. It did? OMG. That's unusual. By Christopher Steele, dossier on President Trump's ties to Russia, which was compiled through his employment and opposition research firm Fusion GPS with funding from the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee through their law firm. Joseph Sims. Thank you, Joseph Sims. Thank you. Well, gosh, that's unusual that they would do that. Why would they do that? Let's get to the bottom of this, shall we? It's so bizarre and unusual, I'm not going to say that they did this on purpose. I'm certainly not going to assume that corrupt officials utilized the United States government to go after their political opponent and fabricate allegations with the help of Hillary, Madam Cyberhack's money, purchasing the Steele dossier and also outsourcing CrowdStrike. I'm certainly not going to go there. That's not why they did that. Andrew McCabe was completely without bias, especially Peter Strzok, who was a neutral observer in all of this, who said, "We will stop Trump. We have to hear everything from Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Muumuu. Oh, there's implicit bias, there's explicit bias, there's subliminal bias, there's subconscious bias, there's bias stuck on your shoe, there's bias stuck on your nose, there's bias in your hair, there's bias in the air, there's bias everywhere." Peter Strzok said, "We will stop Trump." Well, that's not an example of bias. Not at all. Eric H526. Looking forward to your next article. Thank you. I am as well. Waiting for it to be published. Eric H526, thank you. Joseph Sims, thank you. What's going to happen after the class? Well, Democrats are going to spin everything. Ken Hunt, thank you for watching. Democrats are going to spin everything. And even in the face of overwhelming evidence, they won't admit anything. And the declassification will embolden President Trump and people who want justice. But Anderson stressed in this particular case, I'm drawing a... Okay, so Anderson said all FISAs need to be signed off in the FBI's National Security Law Branch. What? Anderson said all FISAs need to be signed off in the FBI's National Security Law Branch, where she was assigned at the time. Tricia Anderson said she was the senior executive service approver of the initiation of the Page FISA. What? That's like a made-up title. Anderson said she was the senior executive service approver for the initiation of the Page FISA, including determining whether there is legal sufficiency. Why did she determine there is legal sufficiency? That makes no sense at all. Innocent. Okay, thank you. So why did Tricia Anderson approve this? This is the thing, like, with law enforcement, most law enforcement are great people, good people. The bad apples in any environment, you only need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 bad apples. And if those bad apples have a lot of power, they can hurt the lives of a great many people. So it's the bad apples everywhere. You can have 100 good people, and you put 2 bad apples there, and they're going to influence a whole bunch of the 100. But Anderson stressed in this particular case, I'm drawing a distinction because my boss and my boss's boss had already reviewed and approved this application. Anderson said she was the senior executive service approver. Move away. I'm the senior executive service approver for the initiation of the Page. Okay. So she was the one who was supposed to determine whether it was legal. Jeff Hunter, I'm very happy about that. I love it. I love when anyone on the left tries to disparage me. I love it because it's so amusing to me, and it just shows more about them than me. Anderson said she was the senior executive service approver for the application, but then Anderson stressed, in this particular case, I'm drawing a distinction because my boss and my boss's boss. My boss and my boss's boss. That's funny. I'm drawing a distinction because my boss, McCabe, and my boss's boss, Sally Yates. I approved everything. And I think that Trumpy purchased Facebook ads with the Pootie Putin, and I think that he infiltrated the DNC with a crowbar and a hooded ski mask and told everyone that Bernard Sanders was cheated. It was my fault. I wasn't cheated. I was the one who cheated the Democrats. Don't you know? It was me who cheated the Democrats. I cheated the Democrats by having the audacity. Listen. I cheated the Democrats by having the audacity to run, which then, as a result, made things more difficult for the Golden Moo. And as she was doing her Firefly stance in the Golden Moo, I ruined everything. So I was the one who cheated, not anyone else. And don't you dare say a derogatory word about Deborah Wasserman, the sensual Wasserman, the lovely Wasserman Schultz. And don't believe anything you hear from Trisha Anderson. Trisha Anderson. No doubt more despicable deception from the Russians and Trump. But Anderson stressed in this particular case, I'm drawing a distinction between, because my boss and my boss's boss, McCabe and Sally Yates, had already reviewed and approved this application. She emphasized, quote, this one was handled a little bit differently. Yes. Klobuchar 2020, that's right. Anthony S. Taylor Jr., I would love it. I would love to. He does a good Bernie, too. In this particular case, Trisha Anderson said, I'm drawing a distinction because my boss and my boss's boss has already reviewed and approved this application. She emphasized, quote, this one was handled a little bit differently in that sense, in that it received very high-level review and approvals. Informal oral approvals. That's what I'm talking about. Before it ever came to me for signature. I just want to let you know that it was approved in the Oval Office. Anderson said the FISA's approvals are typically tracked in a linear fashion, and that someone in the senior executive office is the final approver on hard copy. I'll give you a hard copy. Is the final approver on hard copy before a FISA goes to the deputy, to the director or deputy director for signature. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So they signed off on it being verified. Looks like we need Sally Yates. Looks like we need Sally Yates to testify. Looks like John Durham knows that Sally Yates did something naughty. Did I do something naughty? Will I have to be reprimanded? Well, I might just enjoy that. Because there were high-level discussions that occurred about the FISA, Anderson said. She believed that meant, quote, the FISA essentially had already been well vetted. All the way up through at least Deputy Director McCabe on our side and through the Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates on the DOJ side. So because Sally Yates interviewed the whole thing, it's okay. Or Sally Yates looked at it, it's okay. Sam Lee! Have you heard about the spying program called The Hammer? Dr. Dave Jondo has been saying. The spying program, The Hammer. Actually, I have not. Let's look it up real quick. Obama surveillance. I have not. I have to look it up. The Hammer Big League Politics, the Hammer Surveillance Program. I will look into it. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Ekim Shield, thank you. Ekim Shield, thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Ekim Shield, thank you. So, Sally Yates, thank you again. Sally Yates and Andrew McCabe signed off on this, and I love how Trisha Anderson was like, at least through McCabe, not making sure not to mention that Comey had anything to do with this. Because Comey's gonna be like, you know what, potentially, I wasn't there. I was busy that day. Potentially. Because there were very high-level discussions that occurred about the FISA, and Trisha Anderson said the FISA essentially had been already, that meant the FISA had been already well vetted. All the way up through at least deputy director level on our side and through the Sally Yates on the DOJ side. Yates had already signed off. Yates had already signed the application by the time it made it to Anderson's desk. Wow, that is important. That is important. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the most important thing that I've said all day. Yates had already signed the application by the time it made it to Trisha Anderson's desk. Joseph Sims! We need to autograph Goodman items. I'd be honored. I would be honored to autograph anything, but it'd probably be worth less money than even a cent. I appreciate that. Joseph Sims, thank you very much. Morpheus! Thank you, Morpheus. Thank you. Thank you, Morpheus. It's awesome. I love the, like, now that the super chats, they have the little, like, animated characters. It's awesome. Morpheus, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Yates had already signed the application by the time it made it to Trisha Anderson's desk. I'm going to repeat that again because I find that so egregious. You mean to tell me that Trisha Anderson received a duplicitous signature from none other than Sally Yates? Well, that was okay. Everything's fine with that. In fact, don't listen to H.A. Badman. Yoni A! This is all well and good, but it's all about Visions of Ariella, baby. That's right. Everyone wish Yoni A good vibrations for his literary achievement, Visions of Ariella, a book, a play, a screenplay, Visions of Ariella, Yoni A. Everyone wish Yoni A some great luck in his endeavor. Visions of Ariella, which is a great. Ariella is a beautiful name. I know a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Ariella. I know a really, really wonderful Ariella. Job for 9. I love live shows. Thank you, Job for 9. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone give Yoni A lot of love right now. Morpheus, thank you. E. Kim Shield, thank you so very much. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you. So Yates had already signed on the application by the time it made to Trisha Anderson's desk. Why? Why is the Deputy Attorney General signing off on an application that Trisha Anderson is supposed to sign off on of the FBI's National Security Law Branch? Why is the Deputy Attorney General signing off on an application that the FBI's National Security Law Branch should sign off on? I'm going to repeat that again. This is a big problem for Sally Yates because John Durham is going to say, hey, you know what? If you're part of all of this, 18371, the statute that says that if you're defrauding the United States government, you've committed major crimes, that's a big problem. At a certain point, they just can't hide behind, it's just a really unusual. Everything's unusual. But the line between unusual and criminal activity, see, with Trump, you're not allowed to give him any leeway, any benefit of the doubt. If something is unusual, it is already linked to some kind of broad criminal behavior. And Trump is right, if Trump did this to them, I mean, the media would be there. Everyone would be H.A. Goodman. Everyone would be H.A. Goodman. Everyone. But that's not the way it works. So, I mean, it's like, why is Sally Yates signing something that the National Security Law Branch, specifically the head of the National Security Law Branch, Trisha Anderson, is supposed to sign? It is supposed to go through a linear process. It's supposed to go through the National Security Law Branch. Why is Sally Yates becoming part of this? Bold like a leopard. Matt uses fake journal like John Mattis. Talk about hard bass. Oh yeah, Jake Huger, Ryan Graham. Let's go. Wow. HB hard bastards. HB is awesome. I love HB. He's great. Bold like a leopard. Thank you. Bold like a leopard. Thank you. Yeah, I don't doubt anything. I don't doubt you at all. Yeah. Bold like a leopard. HB is great. I gotta contact him and Sticks and Black Conservative Patriot. Those are some great people right there. Those are some great people right there. 8-year obsession, Yoni A. Well, you're going to see the rewards and the beauty of the 8 years, and that's what's going to make it even more fulfilling. Bold like a leopard. You've given a lot of food for thought. Thank you. HB is awesome. HB is awesome. All right, I will. Bold like a leopard. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will do so. Yeah, I mean, why is and you got to also think about it, the weakest point they will be at is when Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Moo, runs and loses. She's running again, just to let you know. I'm telling my friends, and they're looking at me like, some are like saying, yeah, I could see that. Some are like, are you sure? I'm sure. When she runs again, because Biden has too many skeletons in his closet, and Biden, see, the difference between Biden and Clinton is that Madam Cyberhack can commit crimes, and that's like part of her charm to the left. Biden is supposed to be the salt of the earth guy, the Matt Sniffer. Him sniffing on your hair and committing crimes? No. Because his whole thing, his shtick is like, that's a eucalyptus, right? No, I never committed crimes in my life. I never tried to influence court proceedings because of any family members. No. So you can't be like the Mad Sniffer and be implicated to a lot of crimes or potential criminal activity. The publicly available FISA documents showed that an FBI director also signed off on it. So James Comey's also on it. So why did James Comey also say all of these people signed off on the most ridiculous, absurd, not like they all signed off on it? McCabe, James Baker, James Comey, Sally Yates, all of them. All of them. Tool God. Kangaroos for Trump. Yeah. Tool God. Thank you. Kangaroos for Trump. Love kangaroos. Who doesn't like kangaroos? If you find a person who doesn't like kangaroos, that person has a problem in their brain. Everyone loves kangaroos. Everyone. Tool God, thank you. Thank you. So, because the FISA application, and she did not look at the FISA application with much. She didn't look at the FISA application with much skepticism. "Quote: I wouldn't view it as my role to second guess that substantive approval that had already been given by McCabe and Yates in this particular instance." Oh my God, that's funny. Meaning she doesn't want to get fired by these people. Meaning that she was intimidated. Gosh, this is bureaucratic speak for OMG. My bosses are doing unethical, potentially criminal things, and I'm not going to say anything because I like my job. Prawn D. Big Daddy Good Bar. Will the wheels fly off Democratic Party before its court? Yes. I like that. Yes, it will. The wheels will fly off. They'll fly off completely. Prawn D. Prawn D. They'll fly off completely. They will fly off completely. When Madam Cyberhack loses. Thank you again, Prawn D, as always. Thank you. How can they prove Russia acted DNC when they don't have the servers? They can't. Job for 9. They can't. The answer is they can't, and they never will. That's what's absurd about this whole thing. They can't, and they never will. I'm a Mia. Yes, like UHA, my husband said since November 9th. She's on my empower. Yes. My regards to your husband. Thank you for the great message. I'm a Mia. And yes, I agree with your husband 100%. Madam Cyberhack is running, and she's going to say, why aren't I 500,000 points ahead, you might ask? Meh. Asked why this FISA application was different, Anderson said she believed the sensitivity level on this particular FISA resulted in lots of high-level attention, both within the FBI and DOJ. Oh, so a whole bunch of people were implicated in all of this. Ooh, do tell. I like that. It's getting steamy in here. It's getting saucy, Bernays. It's getting very hot in here. Yoni A! Oh my God. Yoni A. Well, I think the age issue is an issue there, but Yoni A, thank you. That's a great channel, by the way. Yoni A, thank you as always, my friend. Bolt like a leopard. When you hear our story, you'll smile like the Grinch. I gotta contact HB. I gotta contact HB. I will. I'm not on Twitter, but I'll email him. Bold like a leopard. Thank you. Yoni A. Yoni A. There is a little bit of an issue. No, I agree with you, Paul. There is an issue when a young person like that. I mean, it's a great channel, but you gotta wonder whether right or wrong, whether it's too much indoctrination. The general counsel, Jim Baker, personally reviewed and made edits to the FISA. For example, Anderson said, wow, the deputy director was involved in reviewing the FISA line by line. Wow. Yes, I was so excited that the little thing fell out. My thing fell out. I was so excited. Anyway. Anyway. Eric H526. Can you hear me okay? Can everyone hear me okay? Can everyone hear me okay? I'm waiting. Interesting news. Thank you. Can everyone hear okay? Yeah, the mic is on. Okay, good. Excellent. Excellent. So, this is fantastic. James Baker personally reviewed it, made edits. This is to the Steele dossier that is the most ridiculously written, absurd, hilarious, nonsensical, not just unverified, pure fantasy. Nothing has been verified in there. Absolutely nothing. James Shea, thank you. James Shea, thank you. Interesting muse, James Shea. Thank you. When they say, well, some things have been verified, nothing, because everything they say that happened. Let's say that it's the DNC hack, which we have no clue if it absolutely happened, because we were relying on CrowdStrike. They're saying it's in the coordination with Trump and Russian operatives. So the context is that everything that it does say, well, the Russians did interfere. It doesn't just say that. It said they interfered with the help of President Trump. That's the point. That's why it's a bunch of nonsense. That's why it's a bunch of nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the whole point. The general counsel, James Baker, personally reviewed and made edits to the FISA. For example, the deputy director was involved in reviewing the FISA line by line. The deputy attorney general over on the DOJ side of the street was similarly involved, as I understood, reviewing the FISA application line by line. Wow. How do you review the application line by line and allow hearsay from Alexander Downer and a dossier that was written by a disgruntled middle school? It's like it was. You couldn't even, if you worked at trying to just make this the most ridiculous document possible. There's nothing that was verified. Absolutely nothing. Nobody's read the Steele. Anyone who says that the dossier was verified has never read the dossier. It's complete nonsense. Lindsey Graham calls Pelosi delusional. That's hilarious. And they're going to impeach Trump. They're on their way to impeaching Trump. Baker recently defended the FBI's handling the FISA process, saying, quote, "We took the dossier seriously, but we didn't take it literally." What? See, that's doublespeak right there, and did not treat it as the literal truth in every respect. So you are justifying the fact that it's not only unverified, it's a bunch of nonsense, by saying that it caused us to be suspicious. So writing that you know not to be true caused you to be suspicious. I'm sorry. You ventured into criminal behavior right there. You're literally admitting that it was not verified, but because it was not verified, that caused you to be suspicious? Former director James Comey still referred to the dossier as salacious and unverified even in 2017. I'm not going to go into details with respect to what investigative steps we actually took to try to validate it. Yeah, because you didn't have any, Baker. That's why you're under criminal investigation. Nice try, buddy. Mr. Tech applied for. Thanks to you, I can't hear the name John Brennan without hearing your voice. John O'Brennan. Mr. Tech applied for. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tech applied for. Thank you. Mr. Tech applied for. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Tech applied for. Thank you. This is a great article. This is a great article in the Washington Examiner. Great article in the Washington Examiner. by Jerry Dunleavy. Really great article. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you so much. I wanted to go ahead and kind of give you this segment because they did everything possible. James Baker even said that, yeah, it was not verified, but we didn't take it literally. So they get away with it by saying they didn't take. So they know it's not true. So they get around it by saying, well, we didn't take it literally. Well, number one, you couldn't have taken it literally because it's a bunch of nonsense. Number two, why would a bunch of nonsense make you even more suspicious of Trump? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to my super chat. Thank you. I will be back, of course, many times today. Thank you again for a great, great segment. Thank you.